Welcome into Ride the Line, the greatest podcast in sports betting entertainment. My name is Tanner Kern, certified G, bona fide stud, and you can't teach that. And this right here, this is G Money Grant Mitchell. Today we are talking about NFL future bets. We're talking about the disrespect in Dallas. And we're also talking potentially about how the WNBA girls cannot get into the club. And you can't teach that. Bada boom, man, the people in the room. G Money Grant Mitchell, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, Tanner. Thank you. Today is rental car day for me. If you listen to the last show on Friday, you'll know I got rear-ended on Thursday and cars in the shop. Today I'm going to pick up the rental car. That's been quite the fiasco because the person who hit me, they played it off like they wanted to be cooperative. And, she seemed pretty nice and gave me her phone number, her husband's phone number, insurance policy, all that stuff. Like, that was cool. And then as we were texting, as the days went on, she kept saying that she wanted to help out and she accepted responsibility, would take care of it. But then things just weren't happening. And then yesterday, I get a phone call from her husband and he says, "Hey, what's all this about you needing to get a rental car? There wasn't even that much damage." And I said, "Well, hey, dude, here's the thing. I don't care if it's the smallest damage in the world. If the shop has my car, I don't have my car. And I need a car. So I need a rental car. And because your wife hit me, my insurance is already, they said that, they're going to be handling it. Her insurance has already told me they have accepted fault. That means they're also going to be paying for my rental car." So I got screamed at by her husband for about 30 minutes yesterday. I was like, dude, I don't care. It is what it is. She shouldn't have been texting and driving and rolled it into a stationary car.
So her insurance is already taken fault for it, so it doesn't matter what they think. I mean, you can get whatever you need.
So she had told me that she was going to talk to her insurance, the day that the crash happened. I went to the collision shop yesterday, and I was actually supposed to get a rental car yesterday, but then I found out she hadn't talked to her insurance at all, even though she had suggested that she would. So I had to call her insurance, get everything taken care of there. And 2-3 hours later, they hit me back and said, "Yeah, this is our fault. We'll be handling this."
Good. Love that. Love that.
And then her husband was telling me that he's going to talk to his lawyers and he'll let me know. I was like, okay, but you're just going to be wasting your own time and potentially your own money. Because what are they going to do now? Sue Progressive because Progressive said they're accepting fault for the crash?
It's already done. Like, you already got their insurance money. Like, they already accepted fault for it. And his policy is just going to go up. It's going to go through the roof now.
Yeah, I think that's what they were worried about. And they kept trying to get me to not go through insurance. Like, "Oh, we'll take care of this. We'll take care of this, blah, 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 blah." And, sure, I wanted to have some sympathy for these people and I would have loved in a perfect world, but you always have to protect yourself. That's one thing that I've learned just through my 27 years of life and can see now how they've handled this situation. If I didn't go through insurance, I don't think they would have paid. I don't think they would have covered it. So
you have to go.
Glad I did.
You can't not go through insurance. This is America. What is this?
And
Russia?
we pay for insurance for a reason. This is the whole reason you have it.
Yeah, because if you call up your insurance agent or you go to the car shop and they're like, "Hey, what's your insurance? Let's see if they cover it." And then you're like, "Well, I need somebody else's insurance actually because they hit me." It's going to spiral. It's America. It's the greatest country in the world.
The whole comment about needing to talk to the lawyer, I just don't get it. This wasn't insurance fraud. I was sitting still, not moving for a minute.
You should have said, you should have said, "Hey, honey, if you're worried about talking to your lawyer, if you big bad got a lawyer." You
wanted me to call her husband honey?
Yeah, call him honey. They'll throw him off. Be like, "Hey, honey, if you got a lawyer on retainer that you're gonna quote unquote call and you're worried about your insurance policy go up, like, I don't believe it. Like, stop." Like, he ain't got no lawyer on retainer if he's worried about his insurance spiking up $1,000.
Yeah, I don't know if it was an intimidation tactic. All I know is I'm getting my rental car today, and I don't know what they're going to give me, a little Ford Fusion or something. I should have upgraded to an Aventador. Really teach them a lesson.
How many people do you think threaten to call a lawyer when they don't have a lawyer? A lot.
A lot, for sure. But this is the thing. This is so small and insignificant and irrefutable almost. Like, I already had a voice recording from her at the site of the crash and texts from her saying, "I accept fault. I was in the wrong." Like, okay, go ahead and talk to your lawyer, but I don't understand how you're going to get past this.
Did you get her to have a voice recording of that?
I mean, allegedly. I don't think she knew. I don't think she knew, but like, yeah.
Oh, you You were recording her. Good. That's
Yeah.
smart. That's nice. Grant's a CIA agent.
No, I'm not a CIA agent. What's funny though, so you know how on Friday's show I said that I was worried I had a mild concussion, like nothing serious. I'm not worried about my long-term health. But I just remember I'm kind of thinking back on what had happened. And there was a witness. She saw me get hit and she was on a motorcycle and she pulled right over in front of me. And she said, "Hey, I've been an insurance agent for 25 years. Here's what you want to do, blah, 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 blah." She's like, "Why aren't you writing this down? Where's your phone?" And she looked almost offended that I wasn't so on top of things. And I was thinking back on it in retrospect. I was like, I think maybe I did suffer just like a very mild concussion because I like could not think in those immediate minutes after it happened.
She was mad you weren't writing down her digits so she could handle the case for you.
That's probably what it was, to be honest.
Yeah, that's what it was. Anyways, Grant's okay. He's getting a car on the man today whose wife hit Grant because she was texting, which is ridiculous. Never do that, people. On Ride the Line, we're fans of safe driving here. So
yeah, we ride the line, but not the literal line in the road. We stay in our lanes.
We stay. You know what we do when we get in the car? We put Ride the Line podcast on, and we don't look at our phones. We just listen to it. So, Ride the Line, Grant, is presented by WSN, the World Sports Network, the greatest sports network in the world. You can get your sports betting picks, prop picks, every kind of pick, promo codes, you name it, it's on there. Grant, tell the people why you love WSN.com.
Well, I love WSN.com because it is a place where I can find the work of myself and Tanner and a team of experts. That's people in the NBA, NFL, MLB, NHL, soccer, cricket, rugby, everything that you could possibly be looking for. It's going to be over there at WSN.com, home of the World Sports Network. And with the NFL coming back, with the MLB in schedule, all these great moments in sports, UFC, if you're looking for betting picks, if you want extra opportunities, if you want to unlock opportunities like bonus bets or profit boost, you can find codes for all that stuff at WSN.com. So make sure you go check it out.
So I had a rough weekend. Speaking of UFC, I said take every favorite on the show, and the first 4 dogs of the night won outright. 2 of which were like 4-1 underdogs. Like the favorites were like minus 750. There was a 26-year-old who got his ass kicked by a 39-year-old. There was another big upset. Then there were 2 upsets that were like, 2-1 favorites. So not really a big deal there, but unprecedented stuff on that card. Anyways, Max Holloway won. We ended the night good. So people were like, whoa, your picks suck. I'm like, it's not how you start, it's how you finish, buddy. So UFC's coming back up. We're going to redeem ourselves in the coming weeks, or redeem myself.
So speaking of Max Holloway, I wanted to go to the comment section on our last video because were you tracking what was happening down there?
No, I was not.
So this, I'm trying to, or maybe it wasn't the last video. I think it might have been a short.
Yeah, it was a short. Max
Holloway. So I was responding to somebody, and you posted a short basically saying that Max was going to win. So we get a comment who says Max gets 1 knockout in 5 years, and you people start losing your minds. Poirier has his number and is just the better boxer. And so I responded to him from the page, and I said, "Who is you people?" He says, "All of you low IQ MMA betting YouTubers." And I said, "Is a low IQ determined by having a different opinion than you?" He says, "It's low IQ because you're actually arguing with a random in your dead comment section. I hope I boosted your engagement numbers." And I said, "Don't you think it's low IQ of you to boost somebody that you think is dumb?" And then I responded he didn't say anything. And I responded to him after the fight. And I said, "Any thoughts on the final result?" And he never said anything. So
I did that too on my personal to somebody. And they were like, "Yo, you were waiting all day to reply to this comment, weren't you?" Like they put something in there. You were waiting all day for this because I hit him right after the fight. And like, yeah, I was, honestly. I'm sorry. I was waiting all day.
That's such a lame excuse though, because you couldn't wait to leave a comment when you said that, when you saw someone say Max was going to win. So like, forget waiting all day. You were searching the internet for the opportunity to talk shit to somebody who thought Max was going to win.
Yeah. And let me just make it clear. Max didn't just win. He won by unanimous decision. That means he beat his ass for every single part of that fight. Also, too, he could have knocked him out in the first round, or he could actually did a little more damage. He just pulled back because he didn't want Dustin to go out in the first round. So, you know what? Max dominated the fight. Anyways, we got a lot of UFC coming up. We got some big fights coming up in August. Very excited about that. We'll be talking about them on the show. Grant, We need to talk about WNBA All-Star game a little bit, just for like 5 minutes. I love talking WNBA, the W. What do you think of the shirts?
So I'm going to be honest. I'll give my opinion. I'm not going to go crazy in depth because simply I don't know enough about the financials. It's very easy to look at those shirts and say, well, the WNBA lost, what was it, $50 million?
And yeah.
Yeah. So it's very easy to say the WNBA lost $50 million last year. So why on earth should we pay you more? It's very surface level criticism. For example, if you're my boss, if you employ me and we finish, let's say we get to the end of the year and I have done outstanding work. I've done the job of 3, maybe even 4 people. But with the money that I generated for you, you spent it all on marketing campaigns and influencer deals and partnership stuff and placements. And you actually ended the year in the negative. Well, that doesn't mean that I don't deserve to get paid more. That just means that you made some poor top level decisions. So I don't know enough about the WNBA's financials to really provide an answer. I don't know what the players are worth. I don't know what their contributions are worth. I know that it's easy to assume that the WNBA is a tax write-off for a lot of NBA owners and the league's losing money, so why would you pay them more? I just don't know. So I think it's important that people know it's okay to say you don't know if you don't have enough information. So I just want to put that out there.
I'm kind of in the same boat with you. My take is that the WNBA is losing money, but Dave Portnoy made a good point on this. If a company is losing money, which most companies are not profitable for a very long time, you have to pay big talent to get yourselves out of the hole. You still have to pay people. It doesn't matter if you're not profiting. That is one thing that kind of flipped my mindset on this topic. With that being said, the WNBA is going to renegotiate their CBA or, whatever they're doing at the end of the year. If personally, this is my belief, if the WNBA went out of business and they couldn't come to an agreement and there was a lockout, nobody would care. It wouldn't really impact anyone if we didn't play WNBA basketball next season. So maybe it's a big tax write-off. I don't know. But like, if there was no NBA, like everyone's going to lose a significant amount of money. If there's no WNBA, I don't think anyone's going to care about it financially. So that's where they're not really in a position of power here.
Yeah, the WNBA is I think they're sort of on the precipice of breaking out as a league, but it's also not a guarantee that that's going to happen. Now, I think Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, Paige Beckers, Sabrina Ionescu, some of the Juju Watkins, some of the younger players who are still in college, they look like that crop, that generation of stars that might be able to propel the league into expanding. One of the biggest reasons that, in my opinion, I think Michael Jordan's biggest asset in his GOAT case, which nobody ever talks about, is the NBA was going out of business. Michael Jordan made them a global phenomenon. He saved the league and then shot it into another world. And he had picked up from where Magic Johnson and Larry Bird did because they entered the same situation. League was going out of business. Their rivalry, which went back to college and the national championship, and then it gets to the NBA, it's Lakers versus Celtics. But like, those people carry the entire league on their shoulders. And that's kind of what's happening with Caitlin Clark and, again, some of those other players right now. The difference is, like I said, they're not at the point where we know it's going to work out for them. So I guess it's really just going to come down to, are they going to get that opportunity or not?
Yeah, like, I don't think they can come into like CBA negotiations and be like, we want this, this, and this, or we're not playing. Okay. Like, what? It's not a core 4. Like, it doesn't matter if there's no WNBA right now. Not many people are going to go cry about it, because in the end of the day, the best women's product out there is women's college basketball.
Yes, that's definitely an argument to be made. But I would also say that's partly because of the recent rise in talent, and that talent is going to the WNBA.
Yes, but I still don't think anybody's going to care if they don't see 35 WNBA games next season.
Nobody. I know you're not literally mean nobody. I know what you mean.
Nobody, but like, not like, again, people are going to be fine. If there was no NFL next season, there would be like fan upheavals. If there was no NBA, there would be fan upheavals. MLB, same thing. Like the MLB lockout is crazy when it did happen. But
NBA lockout too. We forget that happened.
Yeah, NBA lockout. Even NHL, like people would be more upset than the WNBA, but that's just my opinion. Anyways, girls tried to get into the club, they couldn't. Poor girls.
That was pretty funny.
That was a good clip.
Are they
though?
They're called. What were you saying?
Don't be an asshole. Like what are they doing? Like who the frick do you think you are walking into a club? We're playing the W or with Angel. Like, nah, if you didn't come in with Angel, they ain't gonna believe you with Angel.
So this is my question. So they're called the Stud Buds. I'm just learning about this. Are they Stud Buds?
Who's the stud bud? The girl with the pink short hair?
Yeah.
What?
There's two of them.
What is it?
I'll explain the etymology to you off air.
Okay.
Stud is okay. I'm going to try to be as politically correct as I possibly can here. Stud, I believe the term stud is used with a woman who has more male personality characteristics and is a lesbian. I believe that's correct.
Are they dating each other?
So I don't know. So this is kind of what I was getting at. And I want to double check that I've described the term stud correctly.
Over WNBA Twitch stream taking over WNBA All-Star Weekend. Natisha Heedman and Courtney Williams, are those the girls?
I believe so. Yes.
This is wild, man.
Okay. So the Urban Dictionary definition of stud is I don't know. This isn't. They're not using it correct. I've described it the best way I can.
Don't do it. You know what? We don't need to get canceled, but you also can't get canceled in this world. Honestly, I was thinking about that too with the Shane Gillis comedy. It's also a lot harder to get canceled in today's world. Like even 3-4 years ago, it was easier. Like now you don't get canceled. Like you just go move to a new platform where people listen to you.
So I guess my biggest question was, and I'm just reading an article very quickly here, are the Stud Buds actual streamers? Because I think they did something like a 72-hour stream during the WNBA All-Star Weekend. And it looks like they have recently, started streaming. They have 71,000 followers already. And I will say this is one of the ways the WNBA grows. You know, we've seen professional athletes embrace this rise of like streaming and YouTube and all this stuff. And if they become, large sort of influencers, that would be great for the league.
But, I agree with that. They were not at the All-Star game. They did not play in the All-Star game, right? They just streamed during it.
I don't know.
Okay. No. All right. See, we got to become a little more educated. Also, wasn't it funny too? Last thing we'll say on WNBA. Last thing, because I know that people want some football talk and some good old future bets. But wasn't it funny? What's the girl? Kelsey Plum.
Kelsey Plum.
She threw Caitlin Clark under the bus for like not being involved in the t-shirt meetings. Do you think Caitlin Clark walked out there for the t-shirt meeting like this is the dumbest thing ever wearing that? Like,
no, I don't think she did that. I think everything I've seen from Caitlin Clark is she's been at the center of controversy, like with the whole Angel Reese stuff and then becoming the villain. And she's tried to say and do the right things and really keep her nose out of drama. So no, I don't think she did that. Do I think she orchestrated the meeting? No, but I think she was like, hey, we're wearing t-shirts. Okay, cool. I'm on board.
Yeah. I agree, but that's all she needed to do. They didn't need to say, well, she wasn't in the planning meeting. Why was she? She doesn't need to be in the planning meeting.
It was totally unnecessary. And Sabrina Ionescu was staring at Kelsey Plum as she was saying it. Like, why would you even put that out there?
Your meal ticket is that girl, so I wouldn't single her out. Like without that girl, none of you have any rights to defend yourself. Like she is the one that's carrying this league. So what are you singling her out for?
Yeah, I don't know. They just continue to vilify her for just no reason at all, really.
No. Anyways, NFL talk. NFL. Grant, a lot going on in Dallas right now. Why don't you break down what's going on in Dallas?
Yeah, so before we get into our best bets for this upcoming NFL season, just wanted to touch on what's going on with Micah Parsons. And I'm in a NCAA online dynasty with 9 other people, so 10 of us in total. One of them is a Cowboys fan, And after this happened yesterday, he said, I really just hope Jerry Jones hurries up and dies so he stops ruining our franchise. Just to kind of show you where the mindset of Cowboys fans are at. Like, they want their owner to die so he stops talking. So
yeah,
go ahead.
but it's the Jones family, and I know Jerry's the face of it. If you watch the Cowboys cheerleading documentary, you see that every single Jones is in that building. Like, it's going to be the Jones family forever. So I'm sure the next whatever, it's going to be Jerry's son, whoever is going to be the next owner, GM, whatever. It's still a Jones run operation. They may do things differently, who knows? But you're never going to escape Jerry's mindset.
Well, Jerry has said that the greatest success of his life was working with his kids. And I could, if I become a billionaire and I own a sports team and I work with my family, I would probably say the same thing. But so Jerry Jones speaking at, I don't know, some sort of press conference, media session, whatever. Essentially, he said that he took a shot at Micah Parsons. I believe this was related to his contract situation. Micah obviously wanting the extension. Jerry Jones says that even if they sign him to a big deal, it doesn't mean he's going to be on the field because Micah missed 6 games last year. He actually only missed 4. And then he said that we already made Dak the highest paid player in the history of the sport. And then he missed 2/3 of the season, kind of implying that, like, hey, we're not going to spend that much money on Micah because it didn't work out for us before and Micah was just injured. So then you get JJ Watt, who's really stepped up his social media presence lately. JJ Watt says, anytime you can publicly take a dig at your star quarterback and your star pass rusher simultaneously right before the season begins, you just got to do it. Nothing makes guys want to fight for you more than hearing how upset you are they got injured while fighting for you. So very sarcastic, obviously, saying Jerry's full of it. And then Micah Parsons retweeted that. And this is not the first time that Micah has tweeted or said or posted something saying that negotiations are not going well, feels disrespected, bottom line. Now, Micah has repeatedly said he wants to re-sign in Dallas, but he's clearly being frustrated throughout this process.
So Micah Parsons, I always agree with the owners in this situation. Not always, but I agree with the owner's mindset. I think you should take care of your top talent. I think you should pay your top talent. But this is no different than what we're seeing in Cincinnati. Like, you look at Trey Hendrickson, there's no reason to pay him. Like, Micah's got a little different case because he's younger. You look at Trey Hendrickson, he's in a contract year. Basically, if he does not play well, he probably does not get a big contract. So he needs to play well for you in order to do that. If he doesn't show up, he only hurts himself. With Micah is young, but obviously Jerry has no desire to sign Micah long-term. He doesn't want to give Micah a big deal. So that means they gave him the club option this year, $24 million. He's going to make more money this season by at least 3x, I believe, than he's made in his entire NFL career, as far as just playing football. And then he's going to enter a free agency next year and get a ton of money from a lot of people. And he's not going to go back to Dallas. But obviously, Jerry doesn't want to pay him long term. He doesn't want him there. It's too much money for what he wants to pay. Jerry himself does not think Micah garners that contract, even though we know he does as a pass rusher, but Jerry doesn't want to pay it, and he's in a contract year. So this is a year where Micah Parsons still has to play well in order to make money next season. So I get it from Jerry's POV.
Yeah, but even if Micah has 6 sacks, so TJ Watt just reset the market, got $41 million a year over 3 years. Micah's going to want more than 3. He's going to want 4 or 5, but he'll be getting at least $40 million.
Micah just needs to stay healthy. Like, he doesn't need to put up massive numbers, but he needs to be on the field. If he's not on the field, he's going to get less. But if he has 4 sacks and he plays in every game, he'll still get a good chunk of money. But the more sacks he gets this year, the bigger year he has, the bigger the contract's going to be. So
as long as it's, I would say, like, the number's probably like 8 sacks. As long as he gets that, he's going to get more than TJ Watt's $41 million.
Yeah, if he has 15 sacks or 16 sacks, like, whatever he can get to, like, if he's doing 1 a game, that number just becomes much, much higher.
So Micah Parsons, in his NFL career, he is 26 years old, just turned 26. So a young 26. His sack total, 13 and a half, 14, 12. Forced fumbles, 3-3-1-2. Last year only played 13 games. So last year was actually probably his most productive season on a per game basis. he was basically at 1 sack per game.
Yeah. So if he can do that and stay healthy, who set the record? 17.5 sacks last year was the most. Then Myles Garrett, 14, Nick Bonito, 13.5. Yeah. Like if he puts up Trey Hendrickson numbers this season, like he's going to get a massive deal. So, but I get it from Jerry's POV. I don't think you should trash your players publicly. But it is what it is. He doesn't want to pay him. He's in a contract year. He's going to get what he gets out of him this year. He's going to move on.
You know what's also interesting? So, I mean, Jerry, we know the Joneses are just going to wait to the last possible second and probably pay Micah. Like Micah will probably get paid on the final day before unrestricted free agency, or just however the club option works. He'll probably stay in Dallas. But if he doesn't, for all other contending teams who have a little bit of cap space next year, this changes. Like it becomes Micah's basically becoming a mercenary. Like if he's not going back to Dallas, he's looking around the league like, did you make the championship game? Did you make the Super Bowl? I'm going to go there, assuming you have the money to pay me.
Watch him go to like Philly or something. I don't know if they would have the money, but
well, he's from Pennsylvania. I know he went to Penn State. Yeah. He was at the Sixers game wearing a Sixers jersey, and yeah,
he's a PA guy. I mean, he's not going to go to Pittsburgh. Obviously, they don't have the financials to probably do that for another edge rusher, but he could go to Philly if they had money.
Most cap space in the NFL in 2026. Chargers.
That's a good fit.
That is a good fit. Raiders, Titans, Jets. Probably not going to want to go to any of those. You got the Rams at 5. You got the Commies at 6. Bengals wouldn't pay him. Steelers at 11. Niners at 12. Eagles are right in the middle of the league at 16.
Commanders could be a good fit for him.
I mean, I would love it. I'm a Commanders fan, so I don't want to sound delusional, but like it would be a great fit. And also, so when they, you know how the NFL does the top 100 players every year?
Yeah.
So Frankie Louvu made it at number 70. And during his clip, you know, they'll get like usually 2 or 3 players to provide commentary on whatever player it is that's on the list. Micah Parsons was one of the people talking about Frankie Louvu. And he said, you know, that Dan Quinn system, man, I miss playing for that guy. And it was so unnecessary because you're talking about Frankie Louvu. And I believe that people say things with intention. Everybody else, they had Will Shipley talking about Frankie Louvu, which I didn't understand, but everything Will Shipley was talking about was directly related to Frankie Louvu, his impact, blah, blah, blah. Micah started off by talking about his impact, and he's a competitor. They also had Lane Johnson. Lane Johnson was like, he's one of those guys who I enjoy blocking because he makes me work. And then it just shifts to Micah talking about Dan Quinn and how he misses him. Like it did not fit the conversation, but I think that's noteworthy.
Well, maybe he was like, Frankie Louvu is actually not that good, but he's playing in a system that's like that good.
Well, no. So I think more so what he was referring to is Dan Quinn and Joe Witt Jr. Joe Witt Jr. was also in Dallas. They've said that they tried to model a lot of how they used Frankie Louvu with how they used Micah. So my guess is Micah has like seen that in film and said, hey, this is what they had me doing.
Yeah, and they were trying to get a clip for social media. Like that clip will be run when he signs with the Commanders in a year.
Listen, Tanner, don't get my hopes up. We would take Micah. I
like the Commander. Aren't you guys the Redskins now? You guys going back?
Oh no. Yeah, if we want to get to move to DC, apparently, then we need to change the name back.
What is it? You got to go back to. Oh, are you building a new stadium in DC? Are you trying to?
So Trump basically the Commanders finalized their stadium thing. They cleared every hurdle except for a final vote at the DC City Council. City Council's dragging their feet. They could still approve it, but now we're not going to know until September. Trump said that, hey, if you can't get this done, I'll step in and help you because you deserve to be in DC. That was like a month, 2 months ago, whatever. Then yesterday or the day before, Trump, he basically threatened a threat. Like he didn't issue the threat, but he said he was almost considering making a threat that he will not help the Commanders. He'll make sure they don't go to DC unless they change their name back. So it's like nobody really knows what's going on right now.
The fans would love that though. The fans want
Yeah,
it.
I mean, the majority, my understanding as a DMV native, and this is me mirroring everything that I've noticed. Nothing about my personal opinions. Most people prefer the old name, which makes sense because there's tradition and heritage associated with it.
The Indians love it.
Also, from my understanding, I'm not Native American. I don't have Native American ties. I could be totally wrong here. My understanding is the majority of natives do not find the name offensive. Now, I don't know what the exact percentage is. Like if you and I are having a conversation if we're in a group of 10 people and we say something and 8 of them think it's fine and 2 of them think it's offensive, you have still created an issue. So I'm not dismissing. I'm not saying this has to be like a simple majority. 51% think it's fine. 49 think it's offensive. So we're going to say it's fine. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying it does seem to be fairly overwhelming that most people do not find it offensive.
Here's what we need to do. We need to let the tribe vote. Whoever's got Native American, Washington Redskin blood in them, let them vote. Do a vote, see what happens. Then do a fan vote, see what happens there. And then you combine those. You take like the Native American vote is like 70% worth, the fan vote's 30%, and then you see what happens. I think they're going to come up Redskins.
What's interesting is Josh Harris and Adam Peters, Dan Quinn, they've all been very firm. We are not changing the name back, but they have been posting a lot of throwback clips. The uniforms this year, I think we're only wearing them for 3 games, but there's a pretty good chance they become the full-time uniforms moving forward. They are the old uniforms, just with the new logo up at the top. So, like, they are trying to slowly restore the past. You know, if the stadium deal gets done, they're going back to RFK, which is where they were in the 90s when they were winning Super Bowls. So, their words and their actions don't quite match. Now, I don't know if that's on purpose or not, or maybe they aren't considering name change and this is all for nothing.
As a business owner, I just probably wouldn't want I think I would rather have it change back personally, but like I think as a business owner, it's like, damn, we got to rebrand again, because you can't use the old logo is going to have to get tweaked a little bit. Like, I'm not saying like not from an offensive standpoint, just to modernize it a little bit. So you got to tweak your brand again. Like it's probably a nightmare from that perspective.
I think because there is heritage associated with that and tradition, it wouldn't be as bad as when they changed to the football team and then the Commanders. If they were to change to one of the other names they'd considered, like the Warhawks or something like that, that would be awful, because at that point it's like we just can't pick a brand. I think if they do go back to what it was, it would be at least okay.
Commanders makes sense because you're in Washington, though, at least. Like the Warhawks, I don't think Warhogs, whatever it was. Some of the names didn't make any sense for Washington. I think the Washington Presidents would have been a much cooler name. But that's just me.
Yeah, I heard that one floating around too, and I just don't know, because I like my mascots to at least have some. They either have to be cool or they have to be somewhat intimidating. That's kind of the whole purpose of a team name. The Presidents matches, but when I think about like mascots and a president, you know, I can see the Eagles, I can see Cowboys, I can see Giants. And then the presidents, like I'm thinking of Abraham Lincoln and Franklin Roosevelt and all those people running out on the field.
I mean, you could have done Washington Generals. That was another one, right? That would have been good. You could have had a Navy SEAL as the guy.
Yeah, I mean, you could have done that. The only problem with the Washington Generals is that was the team that played the Harlem Globetrotters and always lost to them.
Gotcha.
And I think the Nationals used to be the Washington Generals as well, way back before they were Senators. Montreal.
They were Senators, I thought. Weren't they the Washington Senators?
It might have been Senators. I don't know. I know that was from a long time ago.
Anyways, we'll see what happens.
It was the Senators. You're right. I'm sorry.
I don't even know how I guessed that, but I just remember they had like the S as their logo, maybe. Yeah. I don't know. All right, Grant, let's talk some futures here. You want to kick us off with one, or you want me to kick us off with one?
Oh, I'll kick us off with one, because I got a very controversial one that I'm interested to see or hear your thoughts on. So these odds are from 4 days or so ago. If they've moved, it's possible. I don't think they will have moved very much. Saquon Barkley under 1,450 rushing yards this season. So I'm going to dive into it. My other picks are team-based, but I want to start with I guess a player prop future.
Well, let me start off by saying you're not the only one on this, Grant. Like, this is like the most public. This is like 74% of bets and tickets, I think, or something, were on the under for Saquon Barkley.
Huh. I didn't know that. So, okay. I guess the percentage I can make sense of, but I would like to know the ticket count as well, because I'm guessing it's not that popular.
Well, I think people are just like now you got a year of film with Saquon with the Eagles. You know what they do, you know how they operate. He can't do what he did last year. So he also, like, health wise, you got to count on running backs. Like, I would hate to take overs with running backs because you just don't know how healthy they're going to be. That's another concern.
Well, I didn't realize the percentage was that high, but then, hey, to everybody out there who hasn't considered it, let me break this down for you. So last year, Saquon became the 9th player in NFL history to rush for more than 2,000 yards. I'm going to read you the 8 other players and what they did in the season after they broke the 2,000-yard barrier. So again, Saquon's line, 1,450 yards. Eric Dickerson, 1,234. Adrian Peterson, 1,266. Jamal Lewis, 1,006. Barry Sanders is the only one who went over. He had 1,491. So still a huge decrease from 2,000, but more than 1,450. Derrick Henry, 937. He was injured after 8 games. Terrell Davis, 211, injured after 4 games. Chris Johnson, 1364. OJ Simpson, 1125. Nearly all of them missed time with injuries. Nearly all of them were not as productive as they were the year before. On top of that, kind of what you're talking about with the workload, Saquon Barkley in his NFL career, regular and postseason combined, his career high in one season was 313 carries. Last year, he had 436. On top of all of that, you want to know who's on the schedule for the Eagles? The entire NFC East. And, you know, the Giants might not be good, but they've got a crazy defensive line. The Cowboys, whatever. The Commanders are focused on fixing their front line. They got the entire NFC North on the schedule. They got the Bills, the Broncos, the Chargers, the Bucks, the Rams, and the Chiefs. Great run defenses across the entire schedule. So like you said, if Saquon Barkley misses 1-2 games, his chances of hitting this line go down severely. And everything we've seen throughout NFL history tells us that he will go under.
I like it. I think that's a good play. I'm a little afraid to do it just because, like, I think this is a different beast with Saquon Barkley. Like, I think the Eagles rely on him so much. And if everyone's telling me that Jalen Hurts is such a game manager at quarterback, like, I still think they're going to lean into what they do with Saquon. So it is a little concerning knowing that he can pop off at any time. It would probably be a stay away from me, but I like the logic.
All right, let's hear your first one.
Well, if we're going with player props to start, I had another good one. I was going to go a team one, but since you want player prop, I guess I'll go player prop. Amon-Ra St. Brown over 1,075.5 receiving yards. He has hit this in the past 3 seasons. He's been in the league 4 seasons, 22, 106 receptions, 146 targets, 1,161 yards. Consistency. That's the name of the game with Amon-Ra St. Brown. 2023, 16 games played, 119 receptions, 164 targets, 1,500 receiving yards. 24, 17 games played, 115 receptions, 141 targets, 1,263 yards. His average catch has been 11 yards, 12.7 yards, 11 yards. This man is the most consistent receiver in the NFL. He's not the big play guy when it comes to hitting you over the top. He's going to make plays with his feet, short catches, extend plays downfield. He had a long catch of 70 yards, 66 yards past 2 seasons, 49 the year before that. He is just the definition of consistency. You look at the schedule for the Lions, which everyone last year talked about how they're playing in a dome all the time. They have a pretty favorable schedule when it comes to throwing the football. You're at Green Bay in September. That's the best time to be at Green Bay. You're at Baltimore in September as well. You're at Cincinnati in October. You're at Kansas City in October. And then then you do play some cold games, November 9th and November 16th with Philly and the Commanders. But after that, you end the season with home game against the Giants, home game against Green Bay, home against Dallas, at LA in a dome, home against Pittsburgh. That's a good time to have that one in Detroit, and then at Minnesota in a dome. You do finish the season with the Bears on the road, which is going to be a little tougher. So the schedule is not as conducive to throwing the football with the cold weather, knowing they're a dome team. But yeah, it's the NFL. They got heaters on the sideline. So I think Amon-Ra is going to be just fine.
The reason I actually really like this pick too is because with Ben Johnson departing, and Ben Johnson did great things for the passing game, obviously, but he was also so committed to the running game, probably more so than any coordinator in the league. And the Lions' new offensive coordinator, John Morton, I was just looking. I believe this is going to be his first time ever being an offensive coordinator. Actually, take it back. He was the offensive coordinator with the Jets in 2017, so 1 year. The last 2 years, he was the pass game coordinator with the Broncos. Sean Payton, I know this Broncos team's kind of more of a defensive team than the Saints teams were, but Sean Payton's an offensive guy. Working with him in that room, I think he will have learned about passing concepts. And again, it's going to be hard to be as committed to the running game. So if you're throwing the ball more opportunities for Amon-Ra. I actually really like this.
I just think he's one of the most consistent receivers in the NFL. He stays healthy too. That's another thing. I mean, 17 or at least 16 plus games played in the past 4 seasons. How many guys can you find that come in the league? So I really like this play. He's one of my favorite receivers in the NFL.
My second pick, Tanner, speaking of the Denver Broncos, I'm going to take the Broncos under 9.5 wins. We talked about the AFC West on a show, so I may have said this already. Right now, I'm looking at FanDuel. The Broncos under 9.5 is minus 130. Shop around, as always. Go to WSN.com. You want to learn about line shopping. Just basically find the best price on available sports books. Here's the thing that I don't understand with the Broncos. They had a great defense last year, not taking that away. And I love their defense this year. I love their signings. Hufanga, Greenlaw, Jahdae Barron out of Texas in the first round. All fantastic signings. They could easily have a top 5 defense. What I don't understand is why we're so quick to declare Jaden Daniels is going to have a sophomore slump after he just had the best rookie season ever. But we think Bo Nix is ready to take a leap. There were people out there who were arguing Bo Nix deserved to be offensive rookie of the year over Jaden Daniels. I think that's preposterous, but that group of people did exist who were at least putting them in the same playing field. Now Jaden's going to have a slump and Bo is primed for superstardom. I don't get that. On top of that, I didn't see the Broncos adding these huge impact players. Evan Ingram, nice tight end, sure, game changer, no. Their receiver room is still very bad. They added RJ Harvey, who's a converted quarterback to running back in the second round. A lot of people thought he was a 4th round pick. So was that a stretch? They've got a tough schedule. The Raiders, I know you're not as high on the Raiders as I am, but at the very least, you have to agree there are adults in the room now. They are a competent franchise. The Chargers won 11 games last year without throwing the ball. The Chiefs are still the Chiefs. Getting to 10 wins in this AFC when you've also got the Steelers and the Ravens and the Bengals and the Bills and all these teams, there's just not enough wins to go around for everybody.
Well, let me go through the schedule really quickly, Grant. So you're going to win your first 2, and I'm going to be as impartial here as I can. I'm going to give them the wins they're supposed to get. The losses that are questionable, I'm going to take them away from them. So you go Tennessee, Indianapolis, you're going to start 2-0. Then you go to the Chargers, Bengals, and Philadelphia Eagles. I think you're going to steal one of those games.
I don't. I got them 2-3.
Okay, so let's say they're 3-2. Let me go 3-2. I'll go best case, not best case, but 3-2 is good. Jets, you're going to win. That's 4-2. Giants, you're going to win. That's 5-2. At Dallas or home against Dallas, I think you're 6-2 there. Personally, worst case 5-3, best case 6-2. Is that fair?
6-2 is crazy,
but that's what it could be.
No, I got them at 4. Where were we? I got them at 4-4 or 5-3 best case.
How is there not a really strong possibility of 6-2 though?
Because they're going to lose to the Chargers, they're going to lose to the Bengals, they're going to lose to the Eagles, and then between Jets, Giants, Cowboys, it's very possible they lose one of those games. Bo Nix has not proven he can win games week in, week out.
But they have a great defense, so that's all you need. Like the Bengals against a good defense, because their defense is trash. Like
the Bengals, who won that game last year?
Joe Burrow won it.
Yeah.
Joe Burrow should not have won, but he won it. So that was a game that I could easily see going towards the Denver Broncos there. So I'm going to give them realistic best case scenario here. Actually, they start 3-2. You beat the Jets and you beat the Giants. They are incompetent. And then you probably beat the Dallas Cowboys at that point in the season. So you're going to be 6-2. Then I'll give you a loss to Houston. That's 6-3. I'll give you a win over the Raiders. That's 7-3. You're going to split with them. You're going to lose both games to the Chiefs. That's 7-4. At Washington, I'll give you a loss, 7-5. We split with the Raiders already. I'll go 7-6. Home against Green Bay, I'll go 7-7. You beat Jacksonville at home. 8-7.
And then you got to go 2-0 against the Chiefs and Chargers to get to the over.
Yeah, but they're like, you could sweep the Raiders, you could steal one against the Chiefs, you could beat the Commies, you could beat the Packers at home. It's a tough line. I like the under. I think the under is a good call there, but there's a very easy chance that you start 6-2 here.
I totally disagree. I think you were about as nice as you could be, and you're still struggling to get them past 9 wins.
Well, 5-3, even if you start 5-3, you're still in an okay spot. Like I think 5-3 is realistic.
I think they'll be a respectable team, but I've got them for like 8-9.
I would probably take them to make the playoffs rather than taking them under the wins, because I think 9-8 can get them in.
I mean, maybe, but then you're depending on like tiebreakers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Their odds. Let me see what their odds to make the playoffs are. They are minus 106, so right on 50-50.
Yeah, I mean, there's a really good chance. There's a good chance they start 6-2 and sweep the Raiders, though, and then you got an extra win there. There's a good chance they beat the Packers at home. I don't think much of the Packers. Packers are going to play good defense. The Broncos are going to play good defense, and I will trust Bo Nix right now the way he looks. So that's a 50-50, Grant. I can call that one a 50-50.
All right, let's hear your second one.
My second one is probably the best one you're ever going to find with some good value. It's the San Francisco 49ers to be the 1 seed in the NFC.
Okay, tell me more.
Why don't you like it, Grant? Right off the top,
I did not say that I didn't like it. What are the odds?
They're not favored. I'll tell you that.
I don't doubt that.
Let's see. I had it pulled up here. I think it was plus 650 to be the 1 seed. Let me see. Damn,
so their odds to win the conference are plus 950.
I wouldn't take them to win the conference. I would take them to be the 1 seed over anything. So it's plus 650. Okay. The reason that you're going to get them to be the 1 seed, can you look up, Grant, how many wins last year the 1 seed had in the NFC?
The 1 seed, it was the Lions. I think they won 15.
15. Okay. The Lions aren't going to win 15 games, number one, this year, but say it's 15. Let's just get a 15. The 49ers, I think it's a 12.5 for the over for their wins.
I think it might actually be 10.5.
10.5. So it's gone down. Okay. So 10.5. Yeah. 10.5. Minus 105.
Minus 105 over 10.5.
This 49ers team is still more than capable. Like, I don't want to rule that one out. If Christian McCaffrey, I know they're getting old, but if Christian McCaffrey can stay slightly healthy this year, Brock Purdy, you know what you're going to get with him. He's a good game manager. The system works. You got a really good head coach in the regular season, at least. So 10.5 wins, number one. We start with this at Seattle. Let's give it a loss. Let's say at Seattle, you start the season with a loss. You go to New Orleans, you win that. You beat Arizona, you beat Jacksonville at home. You go to the Rams. Let's give that one a loss. So let's say you're 3-2 to start the season. At the Buccaneers, I think Tampa Bay could take them. So let's call it 3-3. Then you're going to beat the Falcons. That's 4-3 at Houston. I think I'm going to give that one to the Niners because I was so mean to them earlier in the season. So you're 4-3 there at the Giants, 5-3. You're going to split with the Rams. Now you're 6-3.
You're a game behind. You're at 7-3.
All right, 7-3. Cardinals win 8-3. Panthers win 9-3. Cleveland win 10-3. Tennessee win 11-3. Indianapolis win 12-3. Bears win 13-3. Seattle win, because you gave them the loss earlier, 14-3. Like that's very realistic.
Yeah, I'm trying to. So this would be
10.5.
Cardinals, Panthers, Browns, Titans, Colts, Bears, Seahawks. There's a 7-game stretch to finish the season where they probably should go 7-0.
Probably should. And knowing it's the NFL, you go 6-1. So yeah, that's what you need to consider. But this is a very good. There's very good upside here. Now, being as mean to them as I can be, like you're going to split with every divisional opponent here. So Seattle, let's say they split. So you start 0-1. You beat New Orleans 1-1. You beat the Cardinals in the first game, so you're 2-1. You beat Jacksonville 3-1. You're going to split with the Rams, so call it 3-2. You go at the Bucs and you lose 3-3. You beat the Falcons, that's 4-3. You lose to Houston, you're 4-4. You beat the Giants, that's your 5th win, so you're 5-4. You beat the Rams now because you split with them earlier, 6-4. Now you lose to the Cardinals, you're 6-5. Then you beat the Panthers, 7-5. Beat Cleveland, 8-5. Beat Tennessee, 9-5. Beat Indianapolis. 10-5, and then you beat Chicago, that's 11-5, and now you beat Seattle, you're 12-5. That's splitting with every divisional opponent and losing a hard game on the road to the
Texans.
So like, and that's more than fair.
And even if they get swept by the Rams, that's still 11-6, which is over the 10.5 win total.
And that's winning every game you're supposed to win. Like that's winning all those shit games. So my thought is they probably split with the Rams, and then you drop one of those games that you should win to a team like potentially the Panthers if they get you on a good day. You're not going to lose to Indianapolis or Tennessee. Like you could lose to potentially a Chicago maybe if they're cooking at the end of the season. Who knows? But like this is an 11-win football team, no problem. It could be upwards of a 14-win team. So I'll take them to win the 1 seed.
I mean, I wouldn't bet this, but I've said numerous times I very, very easily think they could have the best record in the NFC, even though I still don't think they'll be that good. I think they could win 14 games, go to the playoffs, and get slaughtered in the first round because there are holes on the roster and there are injury concerns and they are getting old. But this schedule is the easiest schedule in NFL history, it feels like.
So knowing we're at 50 minutes, Grant, I think the last future we should give them is a Super Bowl pick, and then we can continue to sprinkle these throughout the shows. But I think we should go Super Bowl pick right now, knowing training camp starting today.
Okay, well, I was actually going to give a pick to make the Super Bowl. I was going to give a pick to win the AFC.
That's fair.
And you know what? Maybe I'll take them to win the Super Bowl too. The Baltimore Ravens. As we have said numerous times throughout these recordings, the Ravens and the Eagles have so clearly separated themselves from the entire league. Their rosters are just so much better than everybody. And when I'm looking at the Ravens, Josh Allen should not have won MVP last year. It should have been Lamar Jackson. Lamar should be a three-time MVP. Derrick Henry ran for 1,900 yards last year. They've got a good offensive line. They've got good tight ends. They've added to the receiving core. At least they're respectable there. They can get after the quarterback. They've got good linebackers. They probably have the best secondary in the sport. Marlon Humphrey's an all-pro. Jair Alexander might play 11 games, but when he plays those 11 games, he'll be at an all-pro level. Nate Wiggins was drafted in the first round. Kyle Hamilton's the best safety in the sport. Malachi Starks was a first-round pick. There's no holes anywhere. And we know that they can win regular season games. Although Lamar wasn't perfect, last playoffs was probably the best that we've seen him. So when you factor in, we don't trust the Bills, really. The Chiefs are probably taking a step back. This is the year for Baltimore to go on the run.
I agree with that. They need to go on the run. If it's not this year, I think there's going to be a lot of people that stop believing in the Baltimore Ravens officially. And I'm like pretty close to that. And like the only reason I'm more on their side this year is because it wasn't Lamar in the playoffs last year. He did have the fumble that led to a touchdown. And if you don't have that, you're in a much better position to win the game. There was some questionable play calling as well. Why weren't they running the ball with Derrick Henry much earlier? Because when they did it coming out of the locker room in the second half and third quarter, they enforced their will on the Buffalo Bills. So that's probably why I still believe in them. It was more the Mark Andrews fumble game than anything else. There was room for Lamar to get better, though. But he did from the year before in the playoffs to then, he was much better. So Lamar needs to have the big game. I like it. I would take the Ravens to win the Super Bowl. I would take the Ravens to win the AFC. I don't think the Eagles are going to win again. And I don't think the Eagles are going to win the NFC, Grant. You know why?
I don't either. Same thing. I think they'll be good. I think they'll win in the region of 11 or 12 games. But no, I don't think they're going back to back. I don't think it's a dynasty.
Your NFC champion next season. Your NFC champion next season. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Plus 1,300 to win the NFC title. Tell me why the Tampa Bay Buccaneers can't win the NFC championship next season. That is preposterous, Grant. You look at the Philadelphia Eagles. I think they're going to get knocked out early. They're now, they're not hunted anymore. They're the hunted. Okay. They're not the hunters. They're the hunted. That's going to be a problem for them. The Lions play a brutal schedule. The Rams, they're going to be good. We know what the Rams are, but there's still holes there. The Commanders, we don't know what we're getting out of Jaden. You're only 9-1, Grant. We're 13-1. So right there, that should tell you something. San Francisco 49ers are trash, but they're going to win a lot of regular season games. Minnesota Vikings have J.J. McCarthy, trash. Green Bay, Jordan Love, who knows? Tampa Bay Buccaneers 13-1. They can beat anybody in this league on any given day. They've proven it with the Lions. They've proven it with the Eagles in the regular season. They've beaten both those teams. They can do it once again.
So I agree that they can beat any team in the league. They went toe-to-toe with the Chiefs. They went to overtime. Probably should have won. Baker was making some great hero plays down the stretch. They beat the Lions on the road. The Lions only lost 2 games last year. That was one of them. They can beat anybody. I just worry they could also lose, not to anybody, but anybody in the playoffs. Now, Commanders with a rookie quarterback did go on the road and beat them last year. Baker fumbled it and turned it over on his own 20. Baker also threw 16 interceptions last year. So they will make plays. They have the knockout power to beat the heavyweight champ, but do they have the consistency to win 4 straight games? That's what I would be worried about.
The Bucs would have won that game too if it wasn't for the fumble. That's what sucks, because Tampa Bay played the Commanders harder than anybody besides the Eagles.
Well, there was only one other game. It was the Lions, but
I know, but they still played them harder than the Lions. They put up a much tougher fight than that.
Yeah, the key to stopping the Commanders last year was basically, can you take away the run just completely, like including Jaden's run? And I mean, Jaden actually, I think there was a 4th down where Cansey like grabbed his towel and couldn't get him on the ground, and that won the Commanders the game. But Jaden only had like 30 rushing yards in that game. No, the running backs weren't running. The Eagles couldn't stop them. The Lions let them run wild. And when you do that, then you don't know what's coming.
Yeah, Tampa Bay is good enough to win the NFC. I don't think it's not a lock by any means. I mean, they're 13-1, but Tampa Bay is good enough to win the NFC. So for value, when you're looking in that 13-1 range, I mean, they're right at the backside of the teams that can contend. Then you go Cardinals for 20-1, Bears 21-1, Cowboys 22-1. So like, Bucs are the last team in that group, but I would put them ahead of the Minnesota Vikings right now. Knowing that their schedule, how easy it is, I'd put them ahead of the Green Bay Packers, knowing the schedule they play. They do have a brutal out-of-conference schedule, but knowing the division, I should say, that elevates them a little bit in my mind. So I think they can get in, have a home playoff game, win that, and we'll see what happens.
Well, they should have a home playoff game. That's definitely a big thing in their favor because they should win the NFC South. If I'm looking at teams that can potentially go to the Super Bowl in the NFC, they're 8th in odds in the NFC. I would put them ahead of the Packers, who are above them. I would put above the Vikings. I would put them ahead of the Niners. I would probably Eagles, Lions, Rams, Commanders. I'm cool with leaving in the top 4. I would have the Bucs probably 5th on that list.
That's why it's called value.
It is, yeah, good value there, especially like I just said, getting the guaranteed basically home playoff game helps.
Yeah, that's good value. Who knows? They may get a bye. I'm not going to rule it out. This team's got a bunch of dogs.
I mean, there's plus money on them getting over 9.5 wins.
But the problem is with them, like you said, like they're going to lose that game that they shouldn't win. And like, yeah, last year was such an impressive season for them. Knowing Mike Evans goes down, knowing you lose Chris Godwin's season-ending injury, like they battled through all that and still found a way to win 9 games last year. I think, right? 9?
I think it might have been 10.
They win 10 last year? I think they did win 10 because they beat the Chargers. They smacked the Chargers on the road last year.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
So they won, let's see, they had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They won 10 games last year. Yeah, they finished the season winning 4, 5, 6, 7, 6 of the last 7 games. Against good team, you beat the Chargers. You beat at the Cowboys. You lost that game. That was one they should have won. They really could have won 11 games last year.
I mean, their skill positions are crazy. Bucky Irving, Rashad White, Sean Tucker's good too, even though he doesn't get to play much. Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Emeka Buka, Jalen McMillan, Sterling Shepard, Tez Johnson, even though he's listed 3rd string on the depth chart right now. I'd like to see him because he was great at Oregon. Cade Otton and Peyton Durham at tight end, and then a great offensive line. That offense can score 30 points a game.
I just don't know what we're going to get with Chris Godwin this year when he's going to come back. And something to note, Tristan Wirfs is not going to play the first 4 games, I think. That's another problem. But other than that, they're good.
Well, Tanner, once again, right on an hour.
Right on an hour. Clean 60. Grant, take us out of here.
Guys, that is going to do it for this episode of Ride the Line. Before you click on out of here, scroll down, hit that subscribe button. It takes 2 seconds, and you'll always be around anytime we post future videos. Hit the like button if you did enjoy as well. If you're into sports betting, then also go check out WSN.com. Tanner and I are going to head out of here. We will catch you all in the next episode of Ride the Line.